First of all, congratulations. Huge success of the documentary.
You don't think there's anything going on with Wendy's health that is alarming?
No. I mean, Wendy is Wendy.
This is where we get the blues from every time.
This doesn't look like anything familiar.
I think she's losing memory. Like, she just blanks out.
What would it mean for the documentary to be recognized by the Academy?
Oh, that would mean, I think, the world, not only to us, but to Wendy.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the impact that would have on her.
Yeah.
And to be able to tell her story so honestly and truthfully, and hopefully a catalyst for change for her and for potentially thousands of others.
So have you been in touch with Wendy?
We haven't, but we know people who have been, who are close to her, and she has seen the film, and she's fine with it. You know,
Fine with it.
yeah, she's according to the the people that have spoken to her.
Yeah.
And so, listen, this would be an amazing tribute to Wendy to get an Emmy nomination, for something that she was an executive producer on, and allowed her to tell her story.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many fascinating moments to observe in the documentary. What is it that you have noticed in the reaction from everybody in the world who has watched it? What do you think their biggest takeaway has been?
It's not an easy story to watch or to tell, but hopefully, we did it truthfully and with integrity and sensitively so that Wendy's story could be put out there and that people could lift up the veil of what really was going on in her life and reveal the truth about that, which wasn't really easy.
And as Wendy said, early on, if it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. So I think it's important that people watch this with an idea of what can happen if a loved one is put under a guardianship.
I feel like the Guardian has not done a good job of protecting my mom. As long as she has people around who are yes people, I know that she's not getting the help that she needs or getting better.
Wendy's a world famous, incredible, person, and this happened to her, so it could happen to pretty much anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I know she's obviously not here with us physically tonight, but if she could share a message with the world, obviously you got a front row seat to her life and her experiences. What do you think she'd want to say to the world?
Actually, just what Mark said, if it can happen to me, it could happen to you.
And that she's still fabulous, even, in the dire, situation that she's in. Wendy has an incredible spirit, and I think people can feel that, and the love that she's felt, through this, she can feel it. That's another thing that she, we've been told is that she really appreciates the love and attention and, that her fans have given her because of this platform.
Yeah, her fans ride so hard for her. Of course, the family was involved in the documentary. Have you been in touch with her family? What's the latest?
Mark, you've been in touch with them?
Yeah, we've been in touch with them a lot, and the story's not over, I can say that much, that the family...
Her son?
Her son and everybody that you see in the documentary, we've continued to be in touch with them, and they're very supportive of the project, and I think, this isn't the end of this story. There'll be more.
Well, I love that you say that, because there's a lot of people who still have questions and would love to see what this next chapter of Wendy's life looks like, maybe exposing what life with a guardianship looks like. Are there conversations about picking up the cameras again?
We haven't had any of those conversations, and I think now it's time for us to kind of step back and let the family, have this moment and, kind of take the reins of their story. And then, of course, I don't think the world has seen the last of Wendy Williams.
I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Angela White, formerly known as Black China, and she told me the story of how she came to be in the documentary. She said that it was completely unplanned.
I just went over to her house.
And there happened to be cameras?
Yes.
So you had no idea that you were going to be
I popped
filmed?
up. Yep, I popped up. When I walked in, I knocked on the door and she seen me. She was like, oh, you're here? I was like, hey.
What did you guys make of that day, having that touching moment between Angela and Wendy, removing the wig, showing her feet?
Oh, it was an extraordinary day. It was so moving, and I was so touched by how sensitive and thoughtful she was for Wendy and the bond, and she was just, you could just feel how much she cared about Wendy, and it was really a beautiful moment. And I think Wendy, too, when she took off the wig, that's really where Wendy was at when we were filming with her. She kind of wanted to put that part of her past behind and move on, and she didn't mind taking off her wig. That was fine, and I thought that was one of the most beautiful moments in the film.
She always talks about how she wants to work. I feel as though she's worked enough.
You ready?
Her health needs to be a #1 priority, not her getting a talk show. I'd want to put my mom in a situation where working isn't the thing that kills her. I felt like my mother has never needed TV or a platform to be special. But I think she may feel otherwise.
You know, the reaction has been very mixed. There's a lot of people out there who think this is a woman going through a really serious time in her life. This shouldn't have ever even been made. To anybody who has criticized the documentary, what do you say?
No, I can understand that it's a very difficult film to watch. It was a very difficult film to make at times, but I think we were moved to wanting to tell the truth of what was happening in her life under a guardianship. How could that happen? All these unanswered questions. How is it possible that a child doesn't know where their mother is, can't reach her, doesn't know what her health care is? None of the family knows. How is that possible? And I hope we were, even though it was painful, and that we could pull the veil back, as even her niece said, at one point, and show the truth of what was happening to Wendy under a guardianship at this time, and be a catalyst for change.
So you think it was necessary that we make this documentary?
Absolutely, and Wendy and her family, most importantly, feel it's necessary because now they have a platform to show the world what was really going on, in their mother's life, and there were problems and there was a crisis unfolding, and our cameras simply told the truth about what that crisis was. So we hope that this has been a platform to help Wendy and her family tell their story.
Is there anything in retrospect that if you could go back, get those cameras up again, would you have done differently?
I don't think so. I feel like we were there to be honest and truthful and document what we saw and tell our journey of discovery along the way, and I feel like we really achieved that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I'd want to do. I mean, Wendy is an indomitable force, right? And, we really just followed Wendy and her story and her voice throughout it, and she kind of, dictated where the cameras went and how and what we did. And so to be in close proximity to that kind of a force, and that even in the condition she was in, she has such an incredible story to tell that people are clearly connecting to, and whether that makes them feel sad or makes them feel angry or, it is making them feel.
I love that you said she was the one directing traffic, telling you what you can film and what you can't film. What was off limits in this documentary?
Oh, to be honest, she was very direct about what she wanted to do and not, but she really was open to just about everything. She really didn't have a lot of limitations.
Listen, Wendy is the ultimate truth teller, and she said from the very first time we sat down with her, like very early on, there are no boundaries. Ask me anything, you can film anything. I am a public person, I live publicly, this is my story. And so we just followed that direction into, unfortunately, very uncomfortable places. But hopefully that the difficulties that we documented are helping now her family tell their story and maybe make a change.